Welcome to the best podcast. Sorry, try again. Welcome to the best horror podcast on the internet, Dark Screen Society. I'm your host today, Brian, and with me, my co-hosts are Gigi,
Hello.
Seth,
Good morning.
and Chuck.
Silent.
He waved for people who like to watch. Don't watch on video.
I'm only singing today.
Yeah.
Chuck, I love your mug. Witches be crazy.
Witches be crazy.
Witches
That's
be crazy.
So cute.
Cool. So, as you've probably seen from the title, we're going to talk about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. So
It was a
before we get-
doozy. It was a doozy.
It
well,
was.
that's it.
I like this really restored my faith in the show. Like I was like,
Good.
oh, because I did not. I watched it so late because I just could not care less about like. Because like every week I was like, okay, I need to be on there right at like 8 when it airs for me. I think I was like so excited. And then like last night I didn't watch it till like 11 p.m. because I was like, I have no like, who cares about what's gonna happen?
Mhm.
And then I was like, dude, I was watching it alone because Zach's not caught up with it, and I was just like, oh my god, like the entire time. He's like, dude, chill.
Well, I was going to ask how everybody was feeling about it without getting into details, but I guess other than Seth, it sounds like a positive so
yes,
far.
Seth, how'd you feel about it?
Oh, I loved it. I
Yay!
loved it. I like. There's a lot of things that make sense now from like changing from the game to the show, and I like what they did here, and I'm really excited to see how this season ends up. I keep
Uh-huh.
thinking that there's only 2 episodes left, but there's 3. So
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because somebody said last time they were like, oh, it's only 6, and I was like, no, I thought it was 7.
yeah, so it's
Actually,
7.
that was
So
Seth.
Okay,
yeah, it was me. So there's 3 more episodes.
Misinformation. Thanks, Seth.
Yeah. I
Okay.
still think there's like way too much in the second game to like cover in 7 episodes
Yeah.
for like a season, like a part 1 of this season. So we'll see how they like tie things up. But I really love this episode. It won me back again.
Dude, yeah, same.
Oh, Chuck, you muted.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Chuck.
Yeah, your mic is off.
Who's ready to go in on it?
I know. He was
He's
like,
like, I'm fluid.
no, it's like your mic is like unplugged or something.
Wednesday's just
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
I must have hit that button when I moved it. I'm sorry.
You're
okay.
good.
Yeah.
I'm still in. I'm very much in. Like, I'm not out. And I think this episode was way better than the last episode, personally.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to continue to say it through us discussing this. If I could have watched the last episode and this episode back to back, it would be way more cohesive for the people that have played the game.
Okay,
Like,
that's fair.
For you not playing the game and going week to week, like I tried to break it down to the perspective of that. I think the story tells better for the people that played the game if they would have did them back to back, because you leave yourself after last episode like, oh, well, what about this, and this, and they get to that. It's in a little bit of a different order, but waiting that week and letting that marinate, kind of like it's a tough thing to deal with because you just want to know how they're going to do it. So like that's the only like criticism I have of this. Well, I have a little bit more, but nothing crazy.
That's what people tune in for, is for your crazy criticism.
Mhm.
No.
I know.
Your
So
hot
to
take.
recap a little bit, we open up being introduced to Isaac, who I'm not sure, I don't remember his name. I don't know if
Jeffrey
he's
Wright.
mentioned.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I was like,
He's-
somebody spoiled that in a article, so I knew he was in it, but I didn't know
And
he was playing.
tidbit, he was Isaac in the game as well. He's
Yeah, he
there.
voiced him.
Oh,
Him. There's somebody coming up in a couple of episodes, which you've seen in the first season, that is from the game, but they're the only 2 that actually returned as themselves and not like a background character or something like that. So just a little tidbit that Jeffrey Wright actually is Isaac in the game, and he's equally phenomenal.
Yeah.
Did you, in the game, did you have that intro where he throws the grenade in with the
No.
rest of them? So that
No,
was
it's a
brand
little different. Yep.
because that was it Josh Peck?
yeah,
Was that who-
dude.
Mhm.
So
Josh
random.
Peck's jump scare. Josh Peck's jump
Dude, that was crazy that Josh Peck was in here. I
scare.
loved it, but he was so good. And dude, Jeffrey Wright, oh, he's such a phenomenal actor. I wish he was like in I wish he was in like more horror, because I know that
Yeah.
he's in a lot of things. It's just not a lot of things that I tune into because it's a lot of like drama or like television series and stuff. But he just has like such like a strong demeanor like we saw in this episode that like I feel like he would be so good for horror.
He'd be a
Yeah.
villain. He'd be a good villain.
Yeah, like
he's got
so
that
good.
voice, like the gravitas he's got in his voice. You'd be
Yes.
like, oh, this
Mhm.
is
He's
power
awesome.
then.
Everything Jeffrey Wright shows up in, no matter if I like it or not, he singularly is. He's one of the
Yeah.
best, like, second list actors ever. Like, he's
Yeah.
so good. Love him.
Ugh,
Mhm.
phenomenal. But yeah, that opening, dude, one that was so good. I also loved like just the impact of this statement where he's like, the guy was like, well, why did you call them voters? And then he's like, oh, it's because we took their right to vote away, and then we called them that to like mock them.
Mhm.
Sorry, Brody just threw his bone, but like that's so. I don't know. That was just so like impactful. I don't know. It also felt very like surreal because like not to get political, but like
It's
uh,
very political, Gigi.
it's like
Not in my horror.
Not in my horror.
it's so like it's just so surreal because in our political climate, like that could very well happen. Like that is like what feels like is the path that we're going down, and that's so scary.
Especially
So
now that Alcatraz is open.
yeah, like our president is making like chat GPT memes. I'm like, bro.
And you're not getting any more foreign movies either.
No,
'cause
no more
tariffs
foreign
on them.
movies. Like
It's very
scary.
hard to talk about The Last of Us without any type of politics.
Yeah.
In this episode specifically had a lot of foreshadowing of a lot of messages that need to be heard, and they really nailed that in way stronger than they do in the game.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what happens after that. I guess we go to Ellie and Dina.
Is it Ellie and Dina after that, or do we fast forward to when he's into the when he's torturing the dude?
I feel
Yeah,
like
he's
that was
torturing the
later on.
dude.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
The Seraphite, the scar.
yeah,
Yeah.
the scar,
Scars,
which
yeah.
I love that they call them that because at
Mhm.
first I was like, why is he calling them that? And then I was like, oh, okay, now I can see that it's a Seraphite. But okay, also his little monologue that he gave about the whole like William Sonoma and like the pan and shit, like he's just such a phenomenal actor. But
Mhm.
like when it pans to when it pans to the dude like
See what
being
you did there.
tortured, I know when it pans to him being tortured, like it felt Saw level. Like there was just
Oh, it was a sizzling pan.
no, this scene was like I don't know. This scene was just so everything about this episode, like all of the set productions. I mean, we get like, into like crazy sets where Ellie's like singing the song into the subway station. But even just this set of it being in this like rundown kitchen was still so good. And
Mhm.
like the makeup and this guy's acting, the Seraphite guy, like
He was great.
he was so good. He was so good. And just like the intensity of this moment between him and this scar, oh my God. But for viewers that haven't played the game, it's interesting this tension between the Seraphites and he's a wolf, right?
Yeah.
Isaac.
He's
Okay,
the
yeah.
leader of he's the leader of Wolf.
Okay, so you can sense this like tension that's there, but you don't quite know why. Like you can like kind of allude, or you have an understanding of why, but like I
So I have a theory about that.
ooh,
that I wanted
okay.
to bring up because they don't go into why in the game really. They just kind of have like this like they're just two different like vicious factions that
Got
like
it.
go up against each other. But in the opening sequence, so you know how the Seraphites have been talking about their like their prophet or their like savior.
Yes.
So the woman that Isaac meets at the very beginning of the episode, I think she's the prophet. And I think they're going to give us more backstory on the prophet and the relationship between Isaac and her, because that isn't something in the game, but it makes sense for
Oh.
having that be part of the show to like make us understand both groups and why they hate each other so much.
She theoretically, I mean, she exists in the game.
Yeah, the prophet
but
exists.
but you just end up without. See, that's what I said. It's so hard to talk about. Like just like they give you Isaac's backstory to him being the wolf leader. There is a Seraphite leader, You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But like
Yeah.
you just walk into this section in the game and then that person appears and you have to deal with this situation. So like
Yeah.
I agree with Seth 100% on that. But the other thing that they're doing, which if they were back-to-back episodes, like I said before, for me as a player of the game, but this is a good thing for you as a non-player of the game. So if you go back to the little kid scene with the Seraphites walking through the woods, whenever the guy, they were talking about the hammer and she said
Yeah.
that she wanted her own hammer. So that was a way, to really allow the viewer that's unfamiliar with the game to understand that this is a harsh and brutal world that we live in. So then you fast forward to Isaac and the scar in the bathroom, and it is just letting you know that like none of these people in this world are good people. They're just not good people, and they all have motives and they all have survival skills, and like that really, those two scenes like literally go together, but they were so far apart. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that this episode, because if I'd stopped watching, I would assume those scars were just good guys that are just trying to
Yeah.
get by.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh, actually, hold on. Oh, you've
Yeah,
made
they're
yourself
vicious.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not. They're
Uh,
vicious.
I also loved, I don't know if anybody watched like the making of thing, how they like pointed out the dude, the guy in the beginning who is like, oh, why do they call him voters? And then he ends up like Isaac like picks him out, and
Mhm.
then throws the grenade in there. And I like that we like fast forward and we see him outside of the room while he's torturing the guy. And they were like making commentary on how like he is this like shell of a person now. Like
Mhm.
you can tell he's like super hardened when he had this like you could just he had this like innocence and this like youthfulness to him. And I thought that was so interesting. Like these I don't you could tell that the wolves think that they are better than, or like I think every group thinks that they know what's right, and like but they're not. And like we see that these like seraphites are also like I don't know, like cold-blooded killers, but it also seems like the wolves are kind of the same. I feel like every group is bad,
Well,
but they all think they're good.
right, but
Me
they all started out with like even the WLF, like when Fedra was taken over, like Fedra started
Yeah.
out as good, like they were trying to police everything and bring order to everything, and then from being drunk on power and everything, they turned bad, and then the
Yeah.
WLF started against Fedra, and they started as like a freedom organization, which and that's just the harshness of The Last of Us. Like this
Yeah.
is a brutal world of people fighting for survival. And then I love that with the kid, because whenever Isaac shook that lady's hand and he told the kid that he had a choice, no matter what choice he made, he wasn't getting something good. So he was either getting shot on sight or he was getting into this moral dilemma where his soul is just going to slowly be ripped from him. And then they come to that door scene, which is like, man, this is such a fucking brutal environment that these people live in, that no matter what choice you make, you're basically kind of fucked. You're either going to die quickly or like slowly and spiritually over time, which I thought that was wonderful how they did that.
Yeah.
I really like obviously you got one hand panned, and then he was like, tell me what it is. And he's like, I'm not. He's like, I'm going to burn you again. And he'd already had his hand out. I was like, oof, okay. So that's like, they're clearly devoted to their cause.
His hand was already out there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a really nice touch.
Mhm.
Then we go to Seattle. Is it
This
Seattle?
is yes,
Day
Yeah,
one.
Seattle. Yeah. Day
And,
one.
and inside the pharmacy.
Yeah, inside the pharmacy. I love that when they were like, "What's with all the rainbows?" I thought that was so cute. Like, I don't know, maybe they're really happy and positive. That was really adorable.
Mhm.
I read
Did you-
something last week, sorry, Seth, but
It's okay.
they were talking about like there's a lot of TikToks came out about Dina, and they're like, she's like a lipstick lesbian and all those things. She's just
Mhm.
kind of leading her on. But then a lot of people were saying, but this started in 2003, I think it was. So it's not like they've had access to media like
Yeah.
people do now. So they're still trying to learn everything themselves. So that, it kind of annoyed me that people were upset about her.
Yeah,
So-
it
Who was
that's
upset about her? I'm gonna go
Yeah.
find these people.
The
She's
same-
like the best
the
thing to happen to the show.
Yeah, but it isn't. The people weren't upset with her. People were upset the fact that she is gay, and that's
Oh.
what people were upset about, and that's
Or
why
not
they
even that. It's that she's
Yeah.
not gay. It's like, is she like? She's not saying she's bi. And it's like, it's 2003. These are kids who grew up in this
Yes.
area. They're not going to know all these terms and everything, and they're not going to be able to.
Mhm.
she's trying to figure out what her
Exactly.
own true identity is.
It
Because
is
that's-
really upsetting, the commentary where people are like, oh, they're queer baiting. And it's like, no, some people can really just be navigating their identity. And that, like, shame on you for putting like a label on somebody. Like, you know, like, no, exactly. I'm like, who are you to say that she's queer baiting? She could just be exploring her sexuality. There's at one point where people are like, they can be confused, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And like, I thought it was
Yeah.
so powerful in the episode where she's like, you know, I told my mom, like, I like boys and I like girls. And mom was like, no, especially like, I mean, I don't know if Dina is Hispanic in the game, but it's like she is
She
in real
isn't.
life. But like,
Yeah.
I think that's also very, for those that have just watched the show, I think that also resonates like with a certain culture, because it like, yes, it's like taboo in a lot of different, you know, families, but especially in Hispanic culture, it is like, it's like that's a huge no, an automatic disown in your family if you're like gay or queer or bi or anything like that. And so it's like, I don't know, I feel like that really resonated with a lot of viewers, and I'm really happy that like they threw that little story in there. And she was like, even after my mom died, it just really stuck with me. And it's like, I don't know, I thought that part was like so beautiful.
I agree with you, and I think that it was very well done. It's way different than the game,
Mhm.
and they really, once again, you can't talk about it without talking about like politics or beliefs of just letting people be who they are as people. But like they foreshadowed a lot of that to really pound that in, that this is the situation and it's okay to have
Yeah.
this situation, which I appreciate that they added to it and did it. Which for the upcoming scene that we're going to talk about here after the middle of the TV station, it comes back to that. So I'll touch on it a little bit more in detail when we get there.
I wanted to ask you guys, did you, for the two people who didn't play the game here, did you think she was grabbing a pregnancy test?
No, but I knew that she was pregnant because you could just tell. Like,
Okay.
you could just tell, like, immediately when she barfed after seeing the Seraphites the first time. I was like, she's pregnant. They're setting up that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
I had no idea.
who actually barfs after they see something like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because one, that is like my biggest pet peeve in movies, when people see something and then they barf. I'm like, who actually does that? Like, who gets instantly sick to their stomach like that? Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I don't, and so that's just like so egocentric of me. But I just feel like that's such like a fake reaction to things. And especially in an apocalyptic world where you are constantly like Dina,
You're
and
surrounded by death.
you're surrounded by
man.
death, and they would constantly go on their runs to go and kill, like, you know, the infected. I'm like, there's no way that she is getting sick to her stomach off of this. They are setting up something. And so, and then the second time she puked, I was like, oh, 1,000% she's pregnant. So yeah. And then it made sense to me when they were in the pharmacy. I was like, okay, she's probably going to, this is how she's going to confirm her pregnancy. So that one didn't sneak by me.
Okay.
Snuck right past me. I had no idea. Probably because I feel like I would throw up if I saw a bunch of dead bodies and smelt it. I'd be like,
No,
instantly
I feel
throwing
nothing. I'm just kidding.
dead inside. Okay, I am now lost where we are in the episode.
TV station.
Okay,
The TV station.
Mhm.
like I didn't like I like it
'Cause
in my
they-
head. I didn't
when-
know it was a TV station. I just saw. Now you said, I'm like, oh, of course that's a TV station.
Well, they're in the pharmacy, and then they end up in the, that's whenever they go in to,
to the broken window.
well,
Yeah.
they took the horse into the thing. They're in the farm, and then they're in the pharmacy. Then they do the music thing, but then they go to the TV station.
Which we should talk about that music scene, because that music scene was fucking phenomenal.
Got it. Okay, now
And
okay.
then they
It
go to
is.
the
I'm
TV
just saying,
station.
but the pregnancy test jumped like
Yes.
minutes of the
Sorry,
episode.
I've got the order twisted in my head.
No,
so yeah,
me
you're right.
too. Okay, I did not realize that that was a television station. We're talking about the music shop, right? Or like, is that
Well,
a
no,
television
they
station?
go from the music. They go from the music shop to the TV station.
God,
Mhm.
there's so many
Mhm.
locations in this episode.
Yeah.
Because they
Okay,
take the horse into the music shop. That's where
got it.
that's where they're kind of exploring around, and then Ellie goes upstairs, and obviously with her attachment to Joel, she sees all these damaged guitars everywhere that you obviously can't play because they're fucked up, and she sees that one case, and like I felt it, like it made me emotional
Yeah,
because of how it is in the game. But when if you see her hands when she's clicking those things, like her hands are literally trembling and her eyes are closed because all she wants to do is like feel Joel.
yeah,
And as soon as she opens it up, you immediately, like for us who are so attached that know that they don't even need to do flashbacks of Pedro Pascal. Like
yeah,
all you need to see is that guitar because how Ellie knows how to play the fucking guitar is because Joel taught her how to play guitar.
yeah,
So then she pulls it out and she sits on that thing, and then Dina hears her and comes up the steps. It's Aha's Take on Me, which is in the game.
Yeah. And she sounds exactly like Ashley Johnson. Like she embodied her. It was nuts.
Well, they said on the after episode, Seth, that Bella Ramsey A knows how to play the guitar
yeah,
Mhm.
and B also sings. So like that
yeah.
made it easy for the director. but
I was like,
when
that's crazy. Good luck.
but the two things for me as a game player that sold that scene, and now this put me back in on Bella Ramsey. And I'll never judge her acting, but her being Ellie, I'm a little iffy on certain things. So when Dina sat down, who Isabella Marced once again stole the episode. She is the best actor on that show. She's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The tears in her eyes, the way that she reacts to the thing, you could see in that moment without her saying a word that she is in love with Ellie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, because she is immediately locked into her eyes, connected, it melts her. And whenever she tells Ellie, you had a great teacher, and she just somberly looks at her and says, yes, I did.
Mhm.
Look, I almost cried because fucking Joel taught her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like that moment was that was the most perfect moment of this season so far, hands down, perfect to the game. Like it's exactly what I remember, and it was fucking done so wonderfully.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that scene one because I feel like my constant complaints like this season is I don't feel like it's been like as emotional as it should be. Like not that like what's happening isn't emotional, like the way that these scenes are set up or edited or music placement just
You
don't
feel the impact.
exude yeah like the emotion that should be on that's being portrayed and acted on screen. But this episode, I feel like they really, really nailed it with like everything, like the music, the facial acting, like the dialogue. I thought it was so like I was actually getting like choked up. I was like, oh my God, this is like such a beautiful scene. But also the set design for this, like, and I know I already said it and I'm gonna say it like 5 more times because of the sets, but this set design, like where she's like sitting, and I know that they really emulated this like
It's
in the
exactly
game. Yeah.
it's I played it last night afterwards. Like when my friend Seth didn't call me back, I decided to play that section of the game. So when I played that section of the game, it is exactly shot for shot. Like that shelf when she walks upstairs, where all that. Like the guitar where she picks is a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
but the window, the way she sits, the way that Dina kneels down on the ground, like it is literally frame for frame that fucking scene, which is it's perfection.
It's so beautiful. I'm so happy that this is like a major like studio production, like HBO. The fact that they had like this kind of budget because like I couldn't imagine this being owned by anybody else and them trying to pull off these like set productions with a budget that could not be conjured up the way that HBO could conjure up a budget because like these productions were insane this episode.
And then
Yeah,
they
it's
take you
awesome.
then they take you from that beautiful scene, the music, the nod to Joel, the fact that they're in, obviously she loves her, and then you go to this horrific TV station, which I watched the after episode. They literally rebuilt that whole entire TV station from the ground up. Like
And those are real
like,
people too.
no,
They were
that's
like
what I'm saying.
actors. Yeah.
They
Oh
were
yeah, like strung up.
they were strung up on harnesses, real people, to add to the realism of the show. And like when I heard that, I was just like, holy fuck, because that scene is also shot for shot, pretty
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
exactly what happens in a game, all the way to Ellie jumping on that man's back. Because the whole time she was on his back, I was like, get the knife, get the knife, get the
Yeah.
knife. And when I talked to Justin, he was like, I'm not going to be happy if she doesn't stab this dude in the neck, because it's exactly what fucking happened. But
Yeah.
that's Ellie. That's what we know is Ellie. She's a cold-blooded killer.
And I like that they showed us like them like, meandering and lurking around and like having to like hide. Like I like that they're pulling more details from the game like that around too.
Dude.
I
Question
agree.
I did have from the game. So obviously Dina in the game, does Dina the one that has like the super hearing? Because I know in the first one it's Joel, but Dina seems to have it in the show a little bit, not quite to that level.
I mean, they all kind of have that in the
Mhm.
game, because
It's
you
just
can
part of
just
a game
press the
mechanic.
top right button and
Yeah.
see through the walls. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to convey through the show. You know what I mean?
Of course, but I didn't know if, because like Dina clearly does, because she listens and she like does stuff
If
with
you
her
press
finger.
this button, you can see
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, so Dina's pressing that while she's out there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like they also just tuned into Dina doing that, like the 1, 2, 3, because she is like so prepared. Like she is the brains and she's so rational and logical. So I think that more had to do with like her survival, rational, logical side than it did being like she is a bat with echolocation.
Mhm. And when they go through, when they escape from there to the subway, which is one of the best sections of that was almost completely shot for shot as well. It's a little different, like how she hears them in the way they conveyed it in the show with her fingers gone up was perfect, because you can't convey that in a game. You just get dropped into this fucking situation. But it's the exact same situation with the intensity of everything. They shortened it a little bit for the show, but like it had the same impact that it did in the game, because like that's a section of that game where you literally feel hopeless and fucked. Like it
Yeah.
feels like an
It was scary.
unescapable. Yeah, it was very
So scary.
it feels like you're not going to get out of there. Like even to the rotary door thingy is like the same. You know what I mean? Like, because you feel like, oh fuck, this isn't going to open, and you can hear in your surround sound all these things coming to fucking kill you. And the way that they conveyed that to the show was fucking brilliant and intense, and you felt the weight of that situation.
I was so incredibly anxious. It gave me like 28 weeks later level of anxiety where I literally was like, in that moment, I was like, I'm so fucking happy I haven't played this game. Where I was like, I would just start fucking screaming and having like a full blown panic attack. That scene was so anxiety inducing. Like, and I knew, and I like, I literally at one point had to tell myself, okay, I know that they survive because like the show has to go on. So I was like, I know they're gonna survive. Like, just chill, dude. So I could like to like lower my anxiety to be like, oh, there's not as high stakes because they're not gonna get them. Dude, oh, hated that scene, but like loved it. But it was so anxiety inducing.
It was
Indeed.
very anxiety inducing.
And for good purpose, because it sets up the next scene. But this is where I have issues, and they're not like, you'll understand when I explain it, because that goes from, obviously Dina couldn't get through the thing. That monster comes and she is saved because Ellie extends her arm and allows that monster to bite her to get her through the gate. And then that causes, obviously, what we seen last night, that causes an issue, because Dina knows bite as turn and terror. You're now a threat to me. So when they escape that situation and they see the movie theater, which is an iconic location from the game, you'll understand more next week. But they get in there and Dina's fucking scared. You know what I mean? She pulls a gun. She pulls a gun on Ellie. You know what I mean? Because she doesn't know she's going to turn, and Ellie's trying to explain that to her. And I love how they did that. Like, I love how that scene played out with the flashlight on her. She's like, look, this is me. I'm going to lay down here. I'm going to wake up exactly like I am. Like, I want to know, before I say my issues with it, I want to know how that felt to Brian and Gigi.
And before we get into that too, I do want to say real quick that I loved that what she said. She was like, you know, I would die for you. But like, this isn't one of those situations. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not dying. Like, I'm fine. And I love that they added that in and like to further like show that Ellie is also falling for Dina.
Yeah, I thought
Yes.
that was so cute.
Yeah.
I I didn't mind it. I thought it was like I thought it all made sense. I thought it was like funny though when Dina is like, well, one, I was like screaming at my screen because like when they're walking into the theater and Dana kind of just like stops and is staring at her. I was like, girl, not the time to second guess. Just keep walking. You're in the fucking middle of the road right now. Go. But then when they get into the theater and she has the gun on Ellie. And then Ellie is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, Ellie is just so used to this, like, for the past, like, several years that she's like, "I'm immune, and, like, my safest people around me know, and, like, I feel safe with you, so, like, I didn't even think twice about getting bit and, like, you not knowing that I'm okay," and, like, in this moment of adrenaline as well. Um, I didn't think anything of it. I thought everything was, like,
Only,
But she
only
didn't know.
yeah, the only frustration was that because she's so close to Dina, I thought she would have told Dina
oh, no, no, no.
earlier.
I knew that. I knew that she didn't know because Joel and Tommy were like, "You can't tell anybody." Like, we made it very clear in the beginning of this season that nobody else knew except for, like, Tommy and
Yeah.
Joel. But,
I just find
I
it harder to believe that she wouldn't tell Dina because she's obviously so like
yeah.
they're so close. So it's a little hard to believe. But I also probably has to add if she knew, we wouldn't have got this scene we just got. So I understand why they didn't do it.
I didn't really find it like I never really found it hard to believe. Like I figured that Dina didn't know because I do feel like yes, even though she is close to Dina, Ellie inherently just has trust issues and she is just
Mhm.
this like stoic, always has her walls up. And like I think that's what makes her and Joel's relationship so special because they both are like that. And then, you know, they were able to like melt away that for each other. So that didn't really surprise me. But Chuck, you're talking about like her going over to like the chair and everything. I don't know. There was a part of me that was like, I was like, Dina, why don't you just like instantly believe her? Or I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, like you're not like already turned, or like, yeah, this makes sense. Like I'll just watch you, and if you start doing something fucking weird, then I'll just shoot you. Like I have
He
enough
snores too
distance.
loud.
Yeah.
I
So
imagine there
like,
was quite a lot of like adrenaline, like because they were just got attacked by a horde of zombies, or
yeah, that's true.
not zombies, and obviously the bad
Mushrooms,
guys.
get it right.
Yeah, yeah, horde of
Infected.
mushrooms.
Wow.
So then, like, good chance. Like when you saw her next, she looked really grey, which obviously she's usually very tan looking. So the fact that she looked like she'd gone through something, which I don't know if that was makeup or what. So I can imagine that, like, it was just instant survival thoughts. It's like I've gone through that and I've survived. So she probably does want to trust Ellie. That's why she didn't shoot her in the head immediately. Which I think
Yeah.
if it had been anyone else,
Yeah,
headshot.
I mean, she was one of the most perplexing situations she's ever been in because the person that she just decided, you know, when she was singing the song that like, I have this identity crisis. I don't know what I want to be, but I love this woman in front of me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and then to be put like, oh fuck, you're gonna take her from me. So that is what is very different from the game. Like that scene where, so she pulls the bandage off. Well, can I get into this, or I mean, because we're exact. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So she wants to prove it to her, so she takes off the bandage, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as she takes off the bandage and after she lowers the flashlight, you know, that moment is so fast because she's like, you know, tells her that, you know, I'm immune and I've always have been. And then Dina's response is, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Where it's not like that in the game. Like when
Oh.
she tells Ellie that she's pregnant, Ellie is so fucking mad and flips out. She literally feels betrayed, loses her mind, and says, "Look, fuck, I'm going to explore." And she starts going through the theater, and you spend all this time with her alone
Uh-huh.
before they end up reconnecting. And then when they actually professed their love for each other, like they became intimate, was all the way back when Ellie was with Jesse in that in Eugene's weed factory.
Uh-huh.
That's where that actually happened at. So
Oh, okay.
but I understand now, like playing the game afterwards, watching the game, why they put it all together because it conveys way better in the show.
Yeah,
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. It's more
totally agree with that.
believable. It's way more
Definitely.
believable in the show. And in the game, it's just kind of like,
But
oh,
is
they're
it
together.
But is
Yeah.
it believable to tell somebody that you're immune and your instant reaction is to just say I'm pregnant? Like I
I
thought
think
that was
so. In the
I
heat
thought
of
it
the
was
moment.
really, really weird.
I think she's
I
gonna like only go GG. You've
no.
used you're pregnant anyway, so you can tell us.
I thought it was so believable because I think it was a confirmation to Ellie where she's like, okay, you have this big secret and now I'm going to tell you this big secret. And it was like a confirmation that like, I believe that you're immune. And
Like they were
now,
swapping secret for secret.
yes,
Yeah.
but
And that
also
they could
like,
trust each other.
that they can trust each other, but also I don't have to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And this makes this a lot more
Right.
complicated because just 5 minutes ago I thought I had to fucking kill you and I
Mhm.
didn't have to tell you that I'm having a baby
Right,
and that
right,
I'm
right.
having a baby with Jesse and I don't know how to juggle having a baby with another man, but now I'm in love with you. And so I thought it was so believable. It was like all these like thoughts and emotions and things like swelling up that she was like, blah, I'm telling
Right.
you. So
No.
I thought it was perfect.
Mhm.
I'm saying I like playing the game and watching it and having that perspective of what you know in your head. Like it takes me a while to process it because it's not what I'm used to. Like
Yeah.
the way that played out. Like so, I understand. Like everything you just explained, Gigi, is exactly how it feels. Like, and
Mhm.
I agree with that. Like, okay, we're gonna just profess our love to each other. You told me your biggest secret. Here's my biggest secret. Fuck it. It's Dina and Ellie versus the world, basically. So, like,
Yeah.
I love that. But when you first see it after how you know the game is it's jarring
Mhm.
because you expect something to be different. My next question is, what did you think about the conversation after they told each other? Like there's about 4 sentences that they said to each other that end up being incredibly important. Like, what did you think about that?
I assume one of them is the stinky breath in the morning.
Yeah, that
the
was
beef jerky.
That and no,
that was so real.
Ellie specifically says 2 bold statements, and I'm just going to say the statements, but I'm not going to say anything else to it. But she says, "So we're having a baby."
Mhm.
And then she catches herself and she says, me, you, and Jesse are having a baby. And then the next sentence she says after that, I'm going to be a dad,
Mhm.
which I just am not going to say nothing else about it. But I want the 2 of you who haven't seen it to really focus on them like during the next week and think about that particular conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I love the "I'm gonna be a dad" line. Uh, 2, I I think it was Ellie, um, processing, okay, you and I are now in a relationship, and instantly, because of who I think Ellie is, because, yes, even though she's, like, scared of, like, trusting and stuff like that, like, she is such a like, an empath and like a lover and just instantly like accepts people like if I love you then you're my family and there's no thoughts about that. You are my blood, you are my family. And so she's like, okay, this like we are having a baby because I love you, now we're together and obviously I'm not going to like disown this baby that you have. But then she was like, well, this isn't really my baby. Like I know that Jesse's also going to be in the picture. So I like I thought it was just setting up a storyline where it's like, fuck, we're pretty much going to be like a throuple now, and that's probably not going to be as easy as I'm explaining this right now. Um,
A thruple. It's
I'll
great.
plead the 5th on this one.
Yeah, it's like hard eyes. It's
yeah,
a
like it.
thruple.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I figured it. It was just like,
But again, they're just you're young folk that haven't grown up in this social media heavy world that we've grown up in that probably don't even know what the word thruple is.
yeah,
So to me, it's just like they're going to figure it out because they've not had any really, like, I imagine it's not happened in their life very often, this situation, if at all. So, like, it
I
all
was-
makes sense the way she reacted.
I
Yeah.
think, and this is like, this is like, because I know exactly how I am. Like, I know how my brain works. Like, upon digesting something and sitting with it for a week. Like, and I think you guys know that about me because, like, I can hate something and love it 4 days later.
mhm.
I think when this is all said and done and over, because I talked to Justin Slasher Talk shout out for about an hour and a half last night on the
Because I
phone.
didn't answer.
I
I
was
know.
going to throw that in there, but I didn't want you to get upset. So thank you. But I love you. I'm
I
just
know.
kidding.
I know.
But so we literally did shot for shot that episode, and then we went through the rest of the game trying to figure out where it's going to end for the next season. And Seth had said at the beginning of this episode, I don't know if 7 episodes is enough because there's so much in the game to convey. And the way that they're doing it, and the one thing I will throw in here, and you can take this information for what you will, the way that they have foreshadowed things in the first season and this season, and then they become revealed like from knowing what's going to happen, has been absolutely brilliant. I catch them, you know what I mean? Because I know there's all this shit. You're like, oh, well, when's this going to happen? When's that going to happen? But like for you guys, they already told you, you just don't know yet. And like, I fucking love that because you have no idea. And because there's so much to come, but it makes sense. Like even the timeline of the couple episodes they have left for where they should cliffhanger this, like the perfect spot. I think that's exactly where it's going to end. And I'm excited to see that. But like, on the same note, like I can't wait to just sit down on a Saturday and go 1 through 7.
Yeah.
Because I think the impact of just blowing it out like that is going to be like really, 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 really weighty. But they're doing a really good job. Because when I picked up the game afterwards and I played this section again, like it's literally so in tune to that. I mean, they changed a couple little things, but it's literally the game.
Yeah.
Which makes me really happy.
I'm really excited about like the way or like the direction that this is going now, because like at first I was like, dude, this is fucking boring. I was like, I don't care about what's going on. And now I just feel like we are setting up to be like, we are really ramping up this season now to be like, okay, we have all these different like sanctions, and they're all fighting each other. Like we have these like the WLF, we have the Seraphites, and now they're setting up this who the hell these Seraphites are, worshiping, and like why, like, and it's also almost like kind of culty, like with the well, it is with like the little symbols and like the messages that they're leaving behind. Like what was it again on the wall?
I don't remember what it said, but that was pulled from the game.
Yeah.
It was. I forget what it says too,
But
it was
shit like that, just like stuff like that. I just feel like it's getting, it's swelling up to be so gnarly and intense. And then also, we have like Dina and Ellie on freaking. Do the Jackson people have a name?
Just Jackson people.
Just Jackson people.
Is
Okay.
it Jackson Hole? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Jackson Hole.
The Jacksonian. They're the
call them holes.
Jacksonians.
The
The people
holes.
of Jackson.
People of Jackson. I need to. This is what I need to always remember, and I think this would be good for audience people that haven't seen it, or even people that played the game, such as Seth and I. Is that every single time something doesn't work for me, or I have criticism, or I don't like something, or I don't understand why they're doing something, and that goes for both perspectives, whether you played it or you didn't. You need to always remember that Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin are sitting somewhere at home with t-shirts on that say, relax, let me cook. Because they know, because they made 2 of the most brilliant pieces of media in those games ever. And like, I almost feel like they make me feel like a jerk for doubting them. Because like when the episode's over, I have all these things. And then I'm like, oh, wait, they were cooking the whole time, because they know what the fuck they're doing, because they made it. It's their material. And like, if I look at it from that lens, then I know it's going to make sense and make me happy as a player of the game. And of course, it's going to make people that don't know the game happy, because the material is there. You know what I mean? It's a powerful story of these amazing characters. So
listen, Chuck, we need those shirts that they're wearing, because it's just a photo of Isaac holding pans from Williams Sonoma.
Right, let him cook. Yeah,
that's funny.
I would love to own the Jeffrey. That'd be fucking sick. Let him cook. That's awesome.
I do love that. That's amazing.
The next episode, because I thought we were going to get, up until now, like I thought, and I don't know if Seth agrees with this, I thought we were going to get like a major filler episode of like something completely off base of all this, and I don't think that's going to happen now. Like, I don't think they have time. They don't have time for it.
I feel like it's going to.
Yeah,
like
it has to.
Because like, and what we're talking about is Eugene, because that's what I thought this, right? That's what you're talking about?
I don't think we're getting a Eugene episode.
Okay, because that's
I'd bet money on it.
I really feel like we are going to, because they have set I just don't believe with how good they are at writing and how little like plot holes they have in this like in their own series, is that they wouldn't make so many nods to Eugene and then not tell us that. Like I feel like that would be just based on their track record. It's like
Mhm.
why all of a sudden you chose to give all these like little nuggets of information of who Eugene is and then not tell us who he is.
I
I
don't
think
think
that's
we're gonna go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
no, go ahead, Seth.
I was saying, I don't think we're gonna get like a full flashback episode. I think we'll get like half
piece, yeah.
like a piece
Mhm.
of it, or like half an episode, because there's another really important flashback that needs to happen. That I think will still happen this season.
That'll be 2 episodes from now, I think.
Yeah, it's somewhere in these next 3.
Mhm. Which is, I think the episode before, I think that's episode 6, and then episode 7 is going to have like a major event. But I don't think Eugene will get. I understand where you're coming from, Gigi, and I agree with you because
Uh-huh.
they did build it up. Catherine O'Hara's out of nowhere. That's Eugene's wife. Like it makes sense to have a Eugene episode. I think they're going to touch on it, but I do not think it's going to be a whole episode. And the only reason I
That's
say
fair.
that is because from where we think the cliffhanger is going to be to how much time they have left to tell a story. Like if they did a whole hour out of the next 3 episodes just on Eugene, they're going to have to skip something pivotal, and I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it would just be like a small section, or even like kind of like how they opened up this season or this episode with like the truck and Isaac. Like
They're going to give you like a little
Mhm.
vignette. Yep.
that's what I feel like it'll be. It'll be like an opener of an episode and it's like a real quick thing. And you're like, oh, okay, that's who Eugene is. And I think we're gonna get Pedro again and be like, okay, this is what happened. This is why he killed him and why something that
Yeah.
it
Can I
looks like
throw a
Kelly
prediction
knows.
in that
No.
Yeah.
that is
No,
Absolutely.
not allowed. You're not allowed to yap today.
So obviously you can't tell me if this is right or not, but now I'm thinking because they made such a big deal over Eugene and the way Joel killed him, I'm going to predict that Joel took him somewhere to kill him, but didn't kill him. He's just like, you have to fuck off out of here. So then we'll see Eugene, but it'll be somewhere in the next 3 episodes. He meets Ellie and Dina to help them with something.
Oh,
Well, since he didn't really exist in the
Yeah.
game and you didn't
Yeah,
get
that
to
could
play with
happen.
him, I
There's
actually
always- so Bill and that
I
got like a
love
bigger
that.
role. So I don't know, just the end, because obviously we've given the like Joel's a bad guy and all this kind of stuff. He's done all these bad things. It's like, oh shit, you actually let Eugene go. Because I don't know why he killed Eugene. We've not been told
Yeah.
that yet. So he maybe just like, look, jump on your horse and kill him.
interesting. Okay, I like that theory.
No reason for believing it. I just like to think.
No, I love that. I actually kind of love
That's a
that.
cool
That would-
theory.
That would be. It is a good theory, and maybe Eugene, because he was into medicinal things, maybe he's there to like help with the baby or something like that. Like that would be really cool. Completely different from the game, but I would accept that. I'd be like, oh, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. But I like the direction that it's going. So now the episode left off with like they're going they hear them over the radio where so who was the WLF were going into this like Lake Hill hospital or whatever the fuck it was. But why were they going there again?
To kill the Seraphites.
Mhm.
Okay, so the Seraphites were in this hospital.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. And as of right now, you can't tell me, but we don't know why exactly they're going after the Seraphites, because it seems like there is a reason other like
They don't really give a reason in the game either. which
Oh,
is why,
okay,
why
okay.
they're
Just
fighting.
said,
So,
don't tell us. Jeez.
well, still, it's
Just-
not like something we know either. So
Yes, okay.
that's why I'm like excited to see
Got it.
that
Got
they-
it.
whole
how they-
backstory.
how they develop the they're gonna that's something they're gonna add, that they're gonna develop, which I welcome because it gives it more levity to why they're at odds with each other, but we don't know that either.
I think
Okay.
it's because
why-
the new Seraphite leader, Eugene, he is.
What if Eugene was the leader of the
Dude,
Seraphites?
that would
Well,
be
that's why I think
actually-
she's the prophet. That's why I said in the beginning of the episode. I think she was the prophet of the Seraphites, and maybe he was originally a Seraphite in the show.
Okay, wait. Oh my God, theories. We have theories
Yeah.
upon theories.
I 100% think that lady, after you saying that, became the Seraphite lady.
I
And maybe they were in love. I don't know.
Well, there's an
Ew.
there's an 11-year gap between that, so like she had
Yeah.
plenty of time to develop her cult.
Mm-hmm.
I even and I will say, even if they don't even tell us like why the WLF, oh my God,
Just
WLF,
call them Wolf.
the wolves, if they are going after the Seraphites and like they don't give us a reason why, I will still accept it because I think really just at the root of all of this, they're like, power is evil. So like they don't even have to have a why. They're just fighting and killing for fighting and killing sake because that's what happens when you are in power and you're just like drunk with power and you think that your like people or group or beliefs are better than everyone else's. You are just you become inherently evil.
Sounds a little
Um,
political.
and I love that.
I
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead, Chuck. I was gonna say
Mm-mm.
there's two things real quick I want to add. One is that at the end of the episode, Dina decides to go with Ellie. And that wasn't also in the game. That was like it was somebody else that went with Ellie. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But
Yes.
Chuck, this is for you. This isn't a spoiler because they're not gonna know. But there's if you look closely, there's something in the distance when they're looking over the city. And
Ooh,
somebody else pointed that out to me. So yeah, look in the distance, Chuck, and you'll know.
that was so poetic. Look in the distance, Chuck, and you'll know.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't want to say it on here, but I know what
Yeah,
you're
you can't.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, okay, don't say it. No
Because
spoilers.
there's listen, I'm not saying nothing. There's a lot of shit that's got to happen, and like the material that I know that they got to put in these next 3 episodes. It's going to be fast paced. There's going to be a lot of shit to deal with. There's going to be action, and it's going to be fucking intense because there's some intense shit coming on. But because I don't want to say nothing else about it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
nothing else about it.
Yeah.
I don't want because it could lead into spoilers for the next episode. But listen, buckle the fuck up. That's all I could say because it's coming.
Put them seatbelts on.
I'm
Mhm.
excited. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like. And I'm
Get your
really
cookware.
yeah, dude. I'm really excited with the direction that it's going. I think this episode was absolutely phenomenal. Like this, I'm hoping that this is the highest rated episode of this season. Like, and I mean, again, I don't know what's to come, but I just feel like there's so much.
2 girls kissing and penis in it, so it's now rated 4. 'Cause
Exactly.
I was like, no, not on my TV.
They're
It's too
so
woke.
they're so dumb about the shit that they do because they bash the game because of Abby, and now they're gonna bash the show because of this. The episode 3, the Frank episode that was they murdered that episode, which is the best episode of television ever made, and it's like
Yeah.
but it's the exact point of the foreshadowing in the game and what the game stands for and the politics of the game, which makes it even that more important because the response to it is exactly what this world is leading against. That's why the Seraphites are these awful people and the WF is the awful people because we live in an awful fucking world. So when you make this beautiful thing about these 2 young women falling in love and people have issues with it, that's exactly what The Last of Us stands for. Is like the ugliness of the fucking world, and the comments that respond in the comment section prove the message that it's saying because people can't just accept it. They have to respond to it with hate. And that is a whole nother layer to The Last of Us that makes it that much more fucking important and beautiful.
Yeah. Mic
I feel like
drop.
that's a great way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Well, that was freaking amazing.
Drop this motherfucker. No, go ahead.
Let us know how you guys feel about this season's episode. Like, share. We love you, and we'll see you. Oh, we hope you also loved our little bonus episode yesterday. Don't forget to tune into that if you haven't. Our Halfway to Halloween, we're talking about a bunch of 2025 movies and what's coming up, and a lot to put on your watch list. But we love you. We'll see you next week.
Love you all.
Stay
Bye.
infected.